Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. How are you today? Today, in our series of goal management that we are talking about, we have now stepped onto the area of leadership. How does leadership contribute to the goals of an organization? Today, in the leadership traits, and we picked up five of them, and today we are talking about decision making. How does decision making play a role in leadership? We all understand that once the goals have been set according to the vision, the mission, the values of an organization, then we need to have a clear communication, which we have already spoken about. And we have to also see how does a leader play a role in providing timely and sound decisions so that the organization can be steered into the right direction, right? So this is what we are talking about today. Effective leaders, they know how to balance their emotions and their reasoning, and they arrive at impactful and sound decisions. They aim at decisions which have a positive all round impact on their organization, to their subordinates, to their peers, to their customers, to their stakeholders, to everyone. And that is why a decision making has a holistic impact on the organization. Decision making is not something that you can just learn from the book. It has to be practiced, it has to be experienced, and it comes from certain amount of expertise that you build up as you go along. Leaders, on the contrary, who display a little lack of clarity or uncertainty are the ones that are unable to get a grasp of their organization and are not very well respected. Their instructions, their orders are not likely to be as well implemented and obeyed because they have not been able to take their teams with them. Because when you have certainty and clarity in your decision making and the speed of decision making, then your people will respect you, they will listen to you, and they will go along with you to implement those decisions, right? Now, making difficult decisions, and leaders are confronted with situations which are either crisis or under, challenging situations or sometimes very sensitive situations. That is the time when decision making really comes into play and has a great influence on the results that are achieved. So, in the army, I've always been talking about there are two types of decisions. There is a quick decision and there is a there's a deliberate decision and a hasty decision. Now, deliberate decision is something that has a long term ramification and you have enough time to take that decision. So that is a time when you need a lot of input data. You analyze that data, and then based on that you take advice, etc., etc., and then come to a very sound and deliberate decision, right? But sometimes there are situations when you need a quick decision, and the speed of the decision is going to have a lot of impact, right? Uh, an example that comes straight to my mind, and I'm not naming the company, that there was an adverse comment overall in the feedback that there was some food poisoning because of a food product that a lot of people had taken. Now, instead of blaming it to people and all, the CEO of the company went on to a broadcast message immediately apologizing for the impact and said, whatever be the reasons, whatever be the consequences, I make unconditional apologies to all my consumers who have had this problem, and all those who have unconsumed portion of this product are respected to deposit it back with their distributors, who are being given instructions to pay back your money, your refund immediately. The speed of this decision made a huge impact on the customer base, and there was a damage control that all the effect that that food poisoning could have had was avoided. So, quick decision and deliberate decision, or hasty decision and deliberate decision. Deliberate decision is a well thought of, planned, analyzed decision, whereas a quick decision or uh, a hasty decision is something that has to be done immediately and may not require deep analysis or information, or there may not be time for it. For example, when you're driving a car and you suddenly come across a boy running in front of you, now there's no time for you to think, deliberate, get data, analyze. You just have to either you have a choice of applying the brakes or swiveling your car to the left or right. You have to do one of them. It may also make you decide whether you like to go and bang your car into a static object without hurting anyone to save that life, or would you take a chance of turning over the car by taking a sharp turn or whatever, right? So these are the few impacts of deliberate and quick decisions. The subject that we are talking about may appear to be complex, but as you go along and practice it, experience it, then you feel that the leaders start getting to take actions on, or they start taking decisions as a matter of habit, as a matter of routine, and it doesn't look as complex as it may look when you are studying the subject. Right. Now, a couple of things that I would like to point out here, and maybe they will have some bearing on what we are talking about immediately, and that is, let's talk one by one. I'm planning to give you five top of my mind tips on how to take good decisions. So, the first one of them is that you must consider the goals holistically. Look at the complete picture of the organizational goals. What is the vision, the mission, and how are you going about taking a decision on that, right? That is the first thing, that you overview and look at the goals very holistically, right? Decide which ones are most important and carry out a balance between a few determined uh, and directioned goals, decisions, or taking too many goals. Too many goals or limited goals. Have a balance. You should have goals that are important, goals that will make you achieve your results that you are wanting to achieve, and yet they say less is more. Don't have too many of them, because many times people have slipped up because they had too many goals and they could not manage them. So a leader will look at the goals holistically and balance out between too many and too less, so that he can drive his force, his team very, very effectively towards the achievement of the goals, right? The second one we are talking about is review of goals. You need to carry out a regular review of your goals, which means that periodically, could be every quarter, every month, every week, every day. There has to be a mechanism at all levels where you review and see whether you are on track or not, whether the progress is being made in that particular field or not. And also, like Brian Tracy says, that measure all your actions against which goal are they achieving, and whether in your personal life or in your organizational goals, any action that you take, which is not contributing to any of the goals, you must eliminate that action. You must eliminate you because you are digressing from your goals if you are taking actions which are not contributing towards your goals, right? The third one is limit your choices. That means when you have too many choices, and that's where everything starts from. See, normally we have too many choices. In any given situation in life, we have too many choices. And it is important whether you want to refrain from having too many choices and narrow down. When you narrow down your choices to a few, then it's easy to manipulate, easy to, sorry, maneuver, not manipulate, maneuver, right? So this is the third one. The fourth one is going by intuition. Now, how does intuition come in? Over a period of time, when you've been a leader and you are become an expert in your subject, and that's the first thing, of course, any leader has to do. He has to know his subject. He has to be an expert in whatever he's doing, and the more he dwells in it, the more he experiences it, he becomes stronger and stronger by going deeper into that subject, and he becomes an authority on that subject. When he's an authority on the subject, from his experience, he goes by the gut. And normally, at least in war, we have seen people went by their gut. Okay. And when people went by their gut, they achieved good results. Why? Because there was no time to explain, analyze, and all, but something told them that in this situation, this is the best thing to do. So, therefore, it is important that you honor your intuition and try it out. What I realized is that when you do that, you must also make a point and write down and log this as to how many times your intuition worked and how many times it didn't, so that in future you know how much to trust your intuition. The results, if they are not analyzed, if they are not logged or they are not documented, they can be lost track of. So, therefore, this is an important part that you please carry out your intuition correctly, right? And okay, so these are the four main ones. And the fifth thing that I feel you should take, you should consider while your decisions is balanced decisions, right? Now, balance is very important, and that is in all the goals that you are trying to achieve. In all the goals that you are trying to achieve, what is a balance between all of them? Balance between all of the goals that you are doing, because you will have to keep as a leader saying where when you monitor your progress or track your progress, you have to see, are we maintaining a balance that all my goals are being achieved, or is only one goal being achieved and the other goals are being neglected? So maintain a balance. So these are the five most important parts of taking good decisions to be able to achieve your goals through proper leadership. So thank you very much for being there. If there's any question by anyone, I'd like to answer them. Thank you, Archana. Thank you, Rajbir. Nice to see you here. Yeah, any questions from any one of you? So there seem to be no questions. There seem to be no questions. I thought I was unmuted. Am I muted? Unmuted? Okay. Yeah. So thank you very much for being here. Mondays and Thursdays, 5 p.m. We talk something on goal management. Please
Hi,
join in.
good evening, Megavi, Daresh, Anilji is joining. Good evening. Good to see you guys. Good evening. I like the background. Megavi, you did work on the background. Yeah, that's wallpaper. अभी हमारे